What the Biden administration is telling us in their 2020 platform, this is going to be the most hostile White House the oil and gas industry has ever seen.
If Biden got in, you'd be paying $7, $8, $9. Didn't they say, get rid of your car?
All right, you're not imagining it. Prices are rising at the pump, also rising when it comes to just traditional oil. And what you've been seeing right now, certainly over just the last few weeks. Phil Flynn had sort of previewed this as a coming attraction. Thought he was crazy at first, given the demand, but he's not crazy. He's here now. Hey, Phil, what's going on?
It's not crazy. Neil, it's not crazy. In fact, it's a nightmare, and that's what we're seeing in oil and gasoline prices. I mean, we're hitting 13-month highs, both on crude oil prices and gasoline prices. And oil, maybe in just a few minutes, could be testing $60 a barrel in the United States. That's a number that just a few months ago, people thought we would never see again. Oil inventories around the globe, Neil, are disappearing. I mean, all of a sudden, we thought we had this oil glut a few years ago or a few months ago. It's disappearing.
And you're paying, what, $2 a gallon for your gasoline? That's okay. You know what that's like? That's like a tax cut. That's bigger than a tax cut. If Biden got in, you'd be paying $7, $8, $9. Didn't they say, get rid of your car?
What the Biden administration is telling us, and they've codified it, Maria, in their 2020 platform, this is going to be the most hostile White House the oil and gas industry has ever seen. And therefore, they're going to violate the bedrock of capitalism. And that is, capital goes where it is welcomed, stays where it is well treated. And the Biden administration is clearly telling us that investments into fossil fuels will not be welcomed over the next at least 2 years while the Democrats control the legislative agenda.
Take a look at what oil is, $58.68 a barrel after Saudi Arabia pledged extra supply cuts in February and March.
We got, say what you want about relationship, we got Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Russia to cut back, way back. We saved our oil industry, and now it's very vibrant again.
All right.
And everybody has very inexpensive gasoline. Remember
Vice
that.
President Biden, we have
That's
one
maybe
final
the biggest
question.
statement in terms of business. That's the biggest statement.
Okay.
Because
We have
basically
one
what he's
final
saying
question,
is he is
Mr.
going to
President.
destroy the oil industry. Will you remember that, Texas? Will you remember that, Pennsylvania, Oklahoma?
Vice President Biden, let me give you 10 seconds to respond, and then I have to get to the final question.
One, U.S. energy producers have cut back in a big way, and they're afraid to get started again because they're afraid the Biden administration will shut them down. So they're not bringing on production as fast as they normally would. OPEC's been cutting back production, and global demand is actually back soaring in China and in India. We were already seeing oil demand at pre-COVID-19 levels. And China just last month imported more production or more oil on a daily basis than the United States, produces in a day. That's a problem, Neil, and we're going to be paying for it at the pump. We could see the price of gasoline not only get to $3, but there could be a possibility that we could be talking $4 a gallon gasoline again. And part of that is because of the demand, but it's also because of the administration's policies that we're hearing from Washington right now.
How long is it going to take for that piece of news to travel from Joe Biden's signature at that tiny table all the way to the pump and the price we all pay for fuel?
Yeah, I mean, the markets are already anticipating this, along with hopefully some economic recovery news that will push the demand up too. But this really sends a signal as to what the administration is planning to do with conventional fuels. And if you're going to restrict supply on federal lands, on infrastructure, as well as increase regulations on existing infrastructure, that's going to drive up prices at the pump. How much remains to be seen, but there's only one direction that it's going to go as a result of all of these policies.
That man right there, he's got a thing to say about this. He is Mike Rowe.
The conversation I think we ought to be having involves the degree to which 330 million Americans are truly reliant on petroleum products and fossil fuels, not just at the pump. It's not just oil and natural gas or clean versus dirty. It's the yoga pants, right? It's the plastic on the keyboard that allows people to type their angry letters to me from time to time. Energy can't be the enemy. So there are a lot of narratives being flown around. And in the end, Keystone, 11,000 guys out of a job. Happily, most of them are skilled and ought to be able to find work elsewhere. Because even if our government turns its back on fossil fuels, the country can't. No matter what we want, we can't do it.
Yep.
Maybe you can afford it, but many can't. Meaning it takes up a lot bigger chunk of the budget of a lower middle class family than it does an upper middle class one. So maybe we should be thinking more about them and less about expensive, inefficient wind and solar energy. Yes, the wind and the sun are free, but wind and solar power are anything but.